Hi, I'm Jessie and this is Becoming, and I'm so happy today to have Sarah Green with us. Welcome, Sarah.
Hello. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Oh.
Sarah and I have been friends for a good few years now, and I've just been so amazed by how she's walked through this year. Specifically, it's actually been a really tough year for her, and she's just done brilliantly, and she's got so many phenomenal keys that I would love her to talk about today, about how she's done that I think will be relevant for everybody wherever you are in your life. And so Sarah, I suppose it started with you'd been through quite a difficult season, and you decided to start this whole new chapter, moved to London, everything was kind of starting fresh, and then lockdown happened.
That's exactly it, Jessie. Yes, I was kind of coming out of quite a tough season, of a lot of kind of pain and disappointment, and decided, right, I was going to move to the big city, start afresh, go after some of the things on my heart, some of my dreams. And just as I was kind of getting a bit of momentum going and feeling hopeful about the future, and quite enjoying my present, honestly, then coronavirus happened, didn't it?
It did.
As we all know.
Completely took the rug out from under all of us.
It did.
And what was that like for you?
Yeah, it was super painful actually, because I felt my new start had been completely thwarted. That's how I felt, and I really quite quickly into the lockdown felt incredibly hopeless, honestly, and it was almost like all the pain of where I was at and the things that I hoped to see in my life at that stage that I wasn't yet seeing, just became so, I became so aware of what I didn't have, and where I wasn't at. And we were kind of all forced to slow down and stop, and I remember so many people enjoyed that ability to slow down, but I found it so difficult because I couldn't avoid looking at the pain. I couldn't avoid looking at the things I had moved to London in the hope to build, and all of a sudden, there was it felt like there was no hope in those areas, I felt so disappointed about where I was at in life, and I felt pretty hopeless about the future at that time as well. So it was a super painful time where I was kind of like looking in the mirror of my life, and I couldn't avoid what I saw and what I didn't see, and that was really hard.
Yeah, well, lockdown will do that, because suddenly, like you said, you're just at home, and you're having to face things that, maybe you could distract yourself out of otherwise.
Yeah.
But that turned out to be a really positive experience for you.
It did.
In the end.
In the end, don't worry.
There's no magic
good
wands.
bits coming.
And I know that you kind of actually decided that this was going to be an opportunity to face some of the things.
Yes, I really felt at that time that there was an invitation to let go of a lot of this disappointment that I was carrying, and there was an opportunity to grab a hold of hope. But that's easier said than done, and what I had to do is I had to realise like what is getting in the way of me being able to let go of this disappointment and kind of have hope for my life and hope for my present and hope for my future.
Because you can't force that.
You can't
it's not like
force
you can just
it.
go, I'm going to decide to be hopeful, especially if you want to actually authentically get to a place of being really hopeful again.
Absolutely, and I am someone that's super kind of real with where I'm at. I never kind of hold back.
Love that about you.
It is definitely something that really matters to me. That I'm not really in denial ever. I don't think my friends would say I'm ever in denial about the painful stuff. My thing would normally be to go quite deep into the pain. But yeah, to get to a place of genuine hope was my goal. I didn't just want to say the right things and tell everyone, yeah, it's going to be great, my life's going to be great, if I didn't really mean it. And so I had to actually look at what was keeping me so stuck. Why was I staying so stuck in disappointment? And I realised it was simply down to fear.
Wow.
That was the root that I got to. And I realised, I was super afraid. I was super afraid of hoping again and getting disappointed again. I was super afraid of failing. I was afraid that perhaps I wasn't enough. Perhaps there was something wrong with me, and so hoping would just be more disappointing again, because there's just something wrong with me. I was afraid of being rejected in some of the things that mattered to me. And so whilst I was listening to that fear, no wonder I wasn't going to move forward, because that will really keep anyone quite stuck.
Yeah, it's
kind
wanting
of paralyzed.
to protect yourself, isn't it? Especially if
Yeah.
you've been through something that was really hard and you've
Yeah.
been disappointed. That fear sort of tells you the best way to protect yourself is to just not try again.
It definitely does. There's no point trying. You know, you're just gonna get more hurt and find out that what the fear's telling you is true. And I think that's super key as well, because for me anyway, the voice of fear is often caged in a bit of truth.
Yes.
And it makes it sound really kind of,
Yeah, it's like a little bit true.
yeah, a
Just
little
true
bit,
enough that you might believe it.
exactly, just true enough to try and get you to believe it, I think. And so when I, you know, was stuck in all that fear, it felt very real to me, because it would kind of point out, you know, the things that I didn't have and maybe mistakes I had made along the way. And there was just enough truth there to get me to really take a hold of that fear narrative. So to be able to actually spot that voice of fear and reject it, I had to realise that it wasn't actually telling me the whole story.
Yeah.
It wasn't a full stop on my life. It wasn't even telling me the whole story on things that had happened or situations of lack in different areas of my life that I was in. It was just one little bit of truth, you know, smattered in there. But there was a whole host of other you know, truthful, hopeful perspectives that I wasn't listening to, because I was so caught on this narrative of fear.
Yeah, and I love, I've seen you, I've heard you say quite a few times that you've got a great phrase. I'm going to let you say it about fear might teach you something.
Oh,
yeah.
I love it, yeah. Fear might teach us something, but what if courage teaches us more?
Yeah, which is just so
Yeah.
great.
That, when I first heard that myself, because I can't take the credit for coming up with it originally, I can't remember who did actually, one of my amazing friends probably, it felt like a real kind of line in the sand moment for me, where, you know, I've kind of wrestled with the voice of fear my whole life, really. I think we all come up against fear, but with everything kind of reaching a little bit of a kind of a marking moment for me, where I really had to make a choice, and I really decided, you know, I was going to draw a line in the sand and leave behind living under this fear, and actually trust that courage was going to teach me more than fear ever could.
That's amazing. So talk us through a little bit about practically what did that look like, or what are the keys that you have from that time that maybe would help someone in a similar situation?
Yeah, well, you were actually a beautiful part of that, Jessie, yourself, because one of my, the biggest things that helped me was inviting my community in.
Yes, so important.
So important. Like, if I could get out of that on my own, I would have done, obviously.
Exactly.
So I needed to invite trusted people in my life, like Jessie, into my process and be really real about how I was feeling and where I was at, and invite you to speak into that. And so for me, it was really important that I went to people that held values, where there was space to process your pain and look at kind of how you were really feeling, but that they were people that carried hope themselves, and people that actually I'd watched them persevere in their own life through their own challenges. I had a history with Jessie of knowing that she believes in me and sees what's in me even when I don't see it myself. And so I knew that bringing this to you would really, really help me. So I actually asked Jessie if she'd do some coaching sessions with me, because I felt
great sessions.
I felt like it really needed to be like, you know, actually can you help me dig into this properly?
Because that can be a little bit different to a friend conversation.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you want your friends to just sort of
Yeah.
come alongside you and chat through a thing.
Yeah.
But I think what you really wanted was really to get a whiteboard out and actually just do a proper coaching session.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, and
That's
I
great.
can't tell you how much that was a game that you did a couple with me, and such game changers for me, Jessie, because you helped me to see through the blurriness, and you helped me to remember what's inside of me. You helped me to, you held hope for me when I didn't have it for myself. You helped me to believe that I was enough before I even did anything, and that helped me to have the courage to then be open and have a go. And you just unpacked so much of that fear for me and helped me to see it for what it really was. And then you helped me to embrace a narrative that was truthful and hopeful about my life. And I would just say like that without those conversations, I'm genuinely not sure that all the amazing things that were to come in the following months and the perspective that I now have, I'm not sure I could have got there.
Yeah, we need people for sure.
And I think, you know, I'm really blessed to have people like you in my life, and I have a couple of other people that are phenomenal too, but I know that not everybody has these kind of people that are just a safe place to be real, and also will encourage you and challenge you to grow and become everything you're made to be. I know not everyone has that. So I would say there's always experts that you can connect with, like whether it's finding someone and booking coaching sessions with them, whether it's listening into podcasts as well of people that you admire. But I would say there's nothing like actually having someone listen to your own personal journey and your experience and inviting them to come alongside you and speak into that and cheer you on and challenge you forward. So I think it's available to all of us, even if it's not in our immediate friendship circles, through coaches and counselling and all of that kind of thing.
No, that's such a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, bringing people in is, I mean, it's a value that we definitely have,
Yes.
isn't it? Like we know that we can't do life alone.
No.
And talk to me a little bit about, you know, what was it like for you practically having to then start to move forward once you brought people in and you sort of had this kind of new revelation of, I'm going to go after courage and I'm not going to listen to fear anymore. Then what were your kind of next steps?
So something you massively helped me on was letting go of the pictures that I'd attached to dreams. So I have, like we all have, I have certain passions and things that I would like to see happen in my life, things I think I'm good at, that I'd like to bring to the world around me. And I had attached certain pictures to what those things would look like if I was moving in them and living in them and doing well in them. And unfortunately, none of those pictures were actually happening in my life, so hence the disappointment. But what Jessie did so beautifully with me was she helped me to let go of some of those specific pictures that I had of what I hoped or thought things should look like, and actually embrace the idea that what if there were other ways that those things were going to come to be in my life, and what if the new opportunities would bring me more life and be a better fit for me than the things I thought I wanted, if that makes sense. So that was super key for me, and it just really, you know, when something really clicks into place where you're like, oh, I finally get it, like actually holding on to this picture of what I think my life should look like is not helpful or the best way. And I genuinely got to a place where I still do, I fully believe that in letting go of these specific pictures, I'm able to embrace the opportunities that come, which they have done, which have been more fulfilling and more life-giving than I think the things I thought I wanted would have been. It's amazing.
Because a lot of it was about the how, wasn't it? It's not about letting go sort of the dreams.
No.
You're going to get somewhere. It's like,
yes.
But I thought it was going to,
that's it.
For me to get there, I needed to be here now. And sort of letting go, you know, that part.
Yes, absolutely. Letting go of the how, and exactly the what as well, without letting go of the dream, the exact of what it exactly looks like. Really being open to other ways that thing might come to be in my life was just so key. And I think in looking at that, in exploring that, we kind of redefined success for me. Because I thought, well, Jessie, I'm such a failure, you know, this kind of thing I would say. I'm such a failure, look at my life, like, this is what I thought things would look like and they don't, so I'm failing. And I really had this revelation when we were having our sessions that actually success looks like having a go. Like success looks like the learning, like success looks like the growing, success looks like being open to the different opportunities. And you know, success actually looks like embracing the process, rather than hanging on for dear life to
the specific
this
outcome.
specific outcome. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think once I really started to, because I've heard of that. We've all we learn these things in our heads, don't we, a lot of the time. But I think there's a difference for when you know something in your head to when it actually goes into your heart. And I would say that really did go into my heart for the first time properly, and it's really changed everything for me, because once I redefined success for myself as about the growth rather than the specific goal, I was able to feel successful on a daily basis, which was amazing. I went from feeling like a total failure on a daily basis to feeling like I was thriving in life. And it was quite funny for me, really, because you know, some things I did. Well, shall I share some of the more practical things I did?
Absolutely, we love practicals.
Yeah, I think I decided, for instance, that I'm really passionate about learning and growing in my own self-growth. So emotional health, psychology, leadership stuff. I love all that. And I decided I was going to, every Monday morning, just have a study morning before I started my work for the week. I was going to get up a bit earlier and take 3 or 4 hours and just study. And I studied a psychologist I was really interested in. I listened to certain podcasts and made notes. You know, I was really intentional about it. And it brought me so much life, because I was having a go at learning. And I would talk to friends about my amazing study morning every Monday, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's so great, like, which university are you with? Like,
what course
are you on?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm just on like a little made-up course that I'm doing." And they're like, "What?
I love that.
Why, you know, why are you doing that?" And I was like, "I'm just doing it for me, like, just because I want to learn and grow, and it's fun. That's fun for me." So there was no certificate attached to the end of it. The success for me was that I was investing in myself and in something I'm passionate about that matters to me, and I was showing up for myself every Monday morning. No one was clocking me in saying, you know, "Is she at lectures yet?" You know, I was doing it for me, and I still do feel so successful in that, because that just was something that wasn't about the approval of others. It wasn't about a particular external goal. So I think a lot of us face, you know, we're in a society that so values the external, and I'm not saying that university qualifications aren't important. I have a couple myself. I'm so proud of this one who's just finished her master's. You know, I'm not saying that those things don't matter, but we cannot get our sense of worth, our identity, or our hope from the external things. That has got to come from inside of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, that was just a really beautiful part of my lockdown.
And actually, what I thought was so interesting watching you is when you let go of that fear and started just having a go at things.
Yeah.
All these other opportunities really opened up for you.
Yeah, that was it exactly. So yeah, and in letting go of fear, another thing I did was I decided I was going to say yes to opportunities that came my way, especially around talking about emotional health and all of this stuff, as that's what I love. And so I had a couple of friends ask me, who I really admire, would I hop on Instagram with them and do little lives talking about different topics like vulnerability and community and friendship and relationships, and even this idea of what is success. And I decided, as much as I was terrified, as much as I felt like, oh gosh, I should probably study this for like literally 3 months before I ever try and do a half-hour live on it. I felt all these things, and I decided, no, like, I'm choosing courage, not fear. I don't need to have it all together. I don't need to be perfect, because the success is in having a go. Like the success is in the learning, not in being the best. You know, I'm not Brené Brown yet, am I? I'm not, and
on your way.
I'm on my way, and that's okay. Like, so I showed up, and I did quite a few of these Instagram lives, and yeah, I was terrified, but I was so proud of myself. Like when we've pushed, you know, stop at the end of the live, I would just feel so successful. Like, even if I'd said some of the wrong things, or I wasn't really even thinking about that. I was just so proud of myself for showing up and having a go, and taking steps towards my dreams.
Yeah.
And there was actual, tangible things that happened in my life in this time, which I think were no coincidence to me being brave and having a go, which were in my work, for instance. My bosses, you know, were saying to me, we see such a difference in you, Sarah, that something's changed. Like, we see this confidence and kind of go-getter attitude that we didn't see before. And we'd love to ask you to film some videos for our course. And it's like a, you know, proper professional course with, you know, my boss is an incredible psychologist and theologian, and I was honoured to be asked to create professional content as part of my working day. That was definitely a dream of mine. That one of the ones I felt, you know, I'm failing in, it's not happening. But little did I know, when I actually just let go of the pressure I was putting on myself there, and just embraced the opportunities in having a go, then actually one of my dreams actually became fulfilled in the process. It was really cool.
So good.
Yeah.
Now we've got a few more minutes, and I really want you to talk about ownership, because I know that's one of the real keys that you've kind of left this season with is, I know that I take ownership over my life, and that, I suppose, encompasses everything that you've just said, but I would love you to just talk a little bit about that before we start.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, that is what it boiled down to, like, ownership. Like, I am the only one living my life. I'm the only one responsible for who I am becoming, the life that I'm building, and what my life looks like. And you know, there was a whole process to getting there, in terms of the letting go of the disappointment, the facing the fear, the choosing courage, and then it boiled down to, and the redefining success, and then it boiled down to, so am I going to do this? Am I actually going to do this? I can talk about it, I can get excited about it, but am I going to take messy action? Am I going to take practical steps to build a life that I enjoy living in?
Yes, so good.
I love that phrase when they say, like, build a life that you don't need to take a vacation from. That's so good, isn't it?
It's so good.
Like, what, you know, am I going to own it and do that? Or am I going to stay stuck in disappointment and fear? And for me, it was just a time where there was that line in the sand moment where I really felt, I'm going to show up for myself on a daily basis. And it's in the small things as well. It's in the little things. Like, was I going to get up on a Monday morning and go and do my study session when nobody else was holding me to account on that?
So good. Yeah.
I was, because I made a decision to, like, take responsibility for the things that matter to me, the things that bring me life, the things that I feel like I'm made for. I didn't need to wait for the opportunity or the invitation or for people to tell me I was good enough or ready. I was going to do it for me. And so ownership has been a huge game changer for me, really. I've built trust with myself in a way that I haven't done before. So I haven't got it perfect. We all have days, don't we, where we want to pull the duvet over. But in general, I have decided to show up for myself on a daily basis and take action, messy action, I call it, because it's not about getting things perfect. It's about the having a go. And I've built real trust with myself in doing that, and it's really built a lot of hope for my present as well as for my future, because I'm actually owning building a life that I enjoy living.
Amazing, I love that. And if there was anything you want to say before we go, just to anyone who's maybe in a similar position, maybe in that kind of beginning stages of feeling a bit disappointed or in a place of pain, or do you have anything you'd like to say to them? What advice would you give somebody? Yes, I do. First of all, I would say I know some of what that feels like, because I remember how painful it was when I was faced with all that disappointment and pain. But I want to remind you that your story isn't over yet. There's so much more for you ahead, and get around people that will carry hope for you when you don't have it for yourself, people that believe in you. Get yourself some coaching, and know that you get to write your story. Nobody else gets to do that for you. You get to do it. And there's things inside of you that actually your community around you and the world around you needs. And the only person that gets to do that in our lives is us. And it's such a beautiful invitation. So kick fear out of the narrative.
hold on to hope, and know that there's a beautiful story for you, and just to embrace taking like the messy action along the journey, and celebrating every little win, celebrating yourself every day, and showing up for yourself. Yeah.
It's brilliant. Oh, Sarah, it's been so good to have you with us. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Jessie. I've loved being with you. Thanks for having me.
And Sarah's brilliant. Follow her on Instagram. She's excellent on. She's brilliant on beauty. She's brilliant on emotional health. She's got a really fun account to follow. So do that. And hopefully we'll have you back.
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much.